Hi, thank you for joining me for this review of a JJRC H11WH drone quadcopter, received courtesy from Gearbest for review. So it comes in this nice box. Okay, it's not too strong, but it arrived undamaged and in fairly good condition. Okay, nice to have a box for portability, so if you want to transport your drone in the box to your destination or wherever you fly. And also good to see, you know, it's fairly compact. Okay, this also has a nice sort of plastic finish to it, so this is good for durability and weatherproofing in the field if you do use it in the field. Okay, so yeah. Now this is a Wi-Fi FPV drone quadcopter, so that's good, and we'll have a closer look at that. Okay, you know, got a 6-axis gyro, you know, 1-press automatic return, remote adjustment of the camera, so that's interesting, and altitude position hold. The lights should look quite good on it. Okay, so we'll just get the box over there for now. Okay, then we have the star of the show. We have the H11WH quadcopter, and first impressions, this looks really nice. Got a nice matte finish to it with the red. Props look good. Okay, a little bit flimsy and plasticky, but they do look interesting and good. So we'll put that there for now and just empty the contents of the box. Okay, we also get our TX radio control transmitter. Also looks very nice in black and red. You know, just got a rubbery feel to it. This has got a nice feel to it, so not your sort of conventional controller, more like an Xbox console. Okay, we'll have a closer look at that. Okay, then in this box here we get the camera. I unpacked it out of the box, but this is the FPV camera that comes with it. We also get a bag with a star Phillips screwdriver, 4 spare props, so always good to have spare props, and little legs or landing skids. Okay, we also have prop guards. Okay. Then we get a little bag here with a foam cushion and some screws. This foam cushion should be for the camera to help prevent jello, hopefully. And then another little bag, and this has the battery charger. So JST, normal JST connection, plug into a USB power point or a computer and charge the battery with that. So let me get that out of the way. Now let's have a closer look at this great looking quad. Okay, first of all I can see, you know, LED lights on the side, LED lights in the front, more LED lights on the side, and some LED lights on the back. So this should be quite visible, particularly in the dark. Okay, it's quite flexible. Okay, but I wouldn't say too durable, but having the flexibility is good and helps with the durability in case you have a crash. Okay, this is just for show, you know, for it's not a GPS quad, so it doesn't really have GPS, so not sure why that's there, but anyway, it does look nice. Okay, now the props are quite bendy, okay, quite a unique different designs, so it'll be interesting to see how this flies. The props are attached with a single screw obviously onto the shaft. Now if we spin this, it actually spins quite freely, so I did have a look to see whether it possibly had bearings, but it hasn't. It's got a bush, but it has got good free movement. And these props are actually quite difficult to get on and align, okay, because if you have a look underneath, also quite uniquely, we don't have the gears showing or open, so they got covers on, which is good, you know, because it helps prevent sticks and grass and objects getting in and interfering and possibly jamming the gears. Okay, so you know, to try and align it without being able to hold it steady, it is quite a difficult task. So you know, replacing props is going to be, it's not easy, it's quite tricky. Okay, so that's not a good thing. Hopefully I won't have to do it too often, but just so that you know that not too easy to replace. Now talking about replacing components, have a look here. Okay, now there's a little screw here to open up this hatch to replace a motor. Now if you've had any previous quads, you know, and you've had to replace a motor, you know how laborious this can be. So this is a big plus, and it's nice to see the manufacturers, you know, thinking and about, you know, replacing parts and making it easy and convenient. So matter of just screwing this, you take the motor out, disconnect it, the replacement motor comes to the connection, connect it back on, and that's it. So that's very good. Okay, okay, underneath here we've got a battery bay, so to open it we just slide it down and up like that. Then the battery is in here and actually slides in and out quite comfortably. Little bit of space possibly for a larger battery if required, but to be honest not too much. Okay, so yeah, quite a flat battery. Now this battery is a 3.7 volt 1100 mAh battery, so pretty big. It's quite a good battery to have, and it should give us about 7 minutes of flying time. So we'll always test it and see, but you know, if you can get 7 minutes including the FPV, that's a fairly good flying time. So yes, one would just connect it in there, and whenever you have a battery bay, although this one's quite quick and easy to close, it's always good to have an on-off switch. And over here we have the on-off switch. We can see mounts to mount the camera. Okay, so yes, if we have a look at the FPV camera, so as I said earlier, this has got an adjustable head that can be controlled remotely, which is quite a unique feature for a little toy grade quad this size. Okay, you've got your little FPV antenna and a little clip for it, so normally it's best to take it out of the clip so that you can improve your reception by letting it dangle down. Then okay, there's like a little forked prong clip on here and a flat one at the back, and if we have a look here, the front bracket is smaller than the back bracket, so this will then you slide in here and get the front one on. Whoops. Now with it having a prong, okay, that's better, and then it just clips on there. Actually feels quite secure. Now there is a bit of foam to help prevent jello, so we'll fly it and sort of see how much that helps. Hopefully it won't be too bad, or else we'll have to make a modification and maybe put more foam in to reduce jello. Then this plugs into the little camera port over here. Okay, so let's just plug that in there. Okay, so that's the camera attached. And if we have a look here, let's attach the landing gear. So there are 4 individual little legs with a plug hole and also a hole here to screw it on. So these go on. There's a little pillar for this hole where the screw goes in as well. So it's 4 of them on here. Now they will need to be screwed on because they don't plug in too tightly. So put them on here like that. So I won't screw them on for now, but yeah, the only thing is, you know, now you have to screw the landing gear on. If I want to transport it in the box, it's not going to fit, but I think if I just make some holes where the landing gear goes, I should still be able to transport it in the box with the landing gear attached. So it would be nice if that was considered, and that beforehand, and hopefully maybe in the future it will be considered. But yeah, I think we can get around that. I'll just modify the box by putting holes in, and I'll still be able to carry it with the landing gear attached. Okay, now let's have a look at this TX radio transmitter controller. Now already I'm very impressed, you know, especially when it's got a black surface and the buttons aren't labeled, then you know it's difficult to sort of try and write on it or something to remind you, you know, which buttons are for which. If we look on the top here, the left button here is for speed adjustment and also to turn the lights on or off. And on the right button here is a roll button. So it is labeled, it does tell you what it's for. Okay, and so yeah, to low speed control, press. So the manual doesn't really tell you whether it's a short press or long press to do what, which is a little bit confusing. So we might have to just test that and find out and see. Okay, now yeah, over here you've got a reset button. Okay, and this is to sort of calibrate the gyros and accelerometers. So instead of normally having to do it with a sequence on the levers and that, you do the reset button so that you can stabilize it. to turn the remote control on and off, there's an on-off button here. Now to put batteries in, there's a cover on the back here which you've got to slide down. I've put 3 batteries in already. The 3 AAA batteries and not AA batteries. They slot in there. This goes up here, and then this actually clips in quite securely and tightly, so although it's got a screw where you can screw it, I don't think it's really necessary because it feels quite strong and comfortable there. Okay, we've got a photo button, take a photo. We've got a video button, take a video. Okay, start and stop. So instead of, you know, you switch the controller and then to start the engines, or so you could call this more as a bind button. So that's good. And to switch off. And then we've got CF mode, 1 key return. Okay, then over here we've got the camera adjustment, so that's up and down. So this is to adjust the tilt and the angle of the camera in flight. So this head maneuvers and should be able to be adjusted in flight. There, up and down. Then we've got our left turn and right turn tuning over here, and our other tuning buttons here, so forward, backward, and crab trim or sideways trimming there if it's needed. But with it having a 6-axis gyro, if you calibrate it properly, you shouldn't really have to bother too much about trimming. Okay, now to connect to FPV, you connect by Wi-Fi between the quad itself and either a iPad or an iPhone or a Android phone or Android tablet. Okay, so we get an instruction manual that comes with it. Okay, and on the front here you can use a QR scanner to scan and download the app. So hopefully you're quite familiar with that. I think most people nowadays are, so I won't go through that in too much detail. Okay, now this instruction manual does leave a little bit to be desired. Okay, you know, it doesn't tell you how to fit props or attach the landing gear or attach the camera. You know, that's not too clear and doesn't explain to you about the reset button being the button that should calibrate it. So, and that's quite important. You know, if you've got a 6-axis quadcopter, you want to know how to calibrate it. So there's nothing about that in here. It's a combination of English and Chinese, which, you know, doesn't make for good reading. That's all. You know, and then there's really no real information or help about, you know, setting up the Wi-Fi and connecting. You know, basically it just tells you, hey, there's an app. Just to make sure that the channels coincide between the camera. But yeah, so not a very good quality paper. So yeah, fortunately, you know, if you need to know how to do it, you can refer back to the manual here. Okay, so to connect to Wi-Fi, first of all you have to make sure that your quadcopter is on, so that it can broadcast the Wi-Fi signal, and obviously the camera needs to be attached because that's the important bit. Okay, now I'll show you on the iPad because it's bigger and easier to see. So I've downloaded the app already, and this on the iPad it's called FlyEye. Okay, so what we need to do first is switch the quad on. Okay, so we need to connect the battery. So let's just connect up the battery here quickly. Right. Switch the quad on. Okay, so you can also see a little green light comes on the camera, so we know that the camera is connected properly. So yeah, look at these flashing lights, two blue ones in the front, green on the side, sorry, two blue ones on the back, green on the side, red on the front, and more lights here. So for orientation, you'll definitely know if the quad is sideways, and you should have no difficulty seeing the front end. And these ones seem a bit small, but you know, having the bright green ones on the side, it gives you you know, quite a good indication of the orientation of the quad. So now that the quad is on, that's okay. Then we also just turn the controller on. So we just press the on button there. And then we do need to bind with the quad by moving the accelerator up and back down, and then it stops beeping. Okay, so that's bound. So to connect to Wi-Fi, and the same procedure basically follows with your phone. You need to go to your settings, you need to go to how you connect to Wi-Fi, and then list of available networks. Okay, this hasn't come up just yet, so let's just wait for it. We've got RL_UAV_AP and a sequence of numbers, and this is the Wi-Fi for the quad. So we connect to the Wi-Fi, we can see it's connecting, and we've got to just wait for it to connect to the quad. Okay, it says it's connected now. Now on the iOS system or Apple system, the app is called FlyEye. So yeah, normally it comes up like this, and you press play. You can choose normal play or altitude hold play. So let's just press normal play, and yeah, here we go. We've got FPV. Okay, so you know, there's also not too much help on how to navigate around this app, you know, and that's something that should be supplied together with the instructions as well. So there, if you want to take a photo, there's a photo button here and takes a picture. If you want to start video recording, you press the camera to start recording. You can see a little red recording button comes up saying the video is recording. So I'll switch that off for now. It looks as though we've got a speed button. So yes, we've got 30%, 60% and 100%. So you can change and adjust the speed on there. I'm not sure about all these buttons up at the top here. You know, if you need to navigate, you can go back there. Then to mount your phone onto this controller, oops, sorry, pressed the wrong button there. Okay, we've got to lift this center thing up here in the middle. Then you take your phone and put it into this bracket, and it holds quite securely and quite firmly. And not too much play over here. clicks and hold steadfast, and you can then fly FPV. Okay, so let's just start the quad. There we go. So to start the quad, you just press the stop button. Let's press stop. Okay, I'm pressing the stop button, but it's not stopping. Okay, well then we press the emergency lever down, the right hand lever down for emergency stop. Okay, let's also just see what happens if the quad is on and we switch the controller off. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. So it looks as though it wants to automatically return, or it's spiraling out of control. Let's just put the transmitter back on. Bind with the quad again. Okay, so it does bind with the quad again, so that's good to know. So that doesn't look too good. We might have to see what happens in the field there. Also, if we look at the camera, there's an SD card slot where an SD card slots in on the back here. So this doesn't come with an SD card. You need to provide your own SD card to record pictures and video. Alternatively, you can also record and take pictures on the app by pressing photo or video, and that should record onto your phone.